Okay, we're ready to go.
Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the annual meeting of the Oswego County Industrial Development Agency of August 30th, 2023. And before we begin, I'm going to ask Kevin LaMontagne, our CFO, to introduce the staff and the guests present. And then I'm going to have our Secretary Treasurer, Len Schick, do a roll call of board members to ensure we have a quorum. Kevin?
Thanks, Gary. So today, as far as staff, we have our Chief Executive Officer, Austin Wheelock. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of the agency. I'm Kevin LaMontagne. Kevin Caracoli, our General Counsel, is here. Guests today, we have Greg Barkstrom from the Chase Development Services, which his company has a project on the agenda today. And as you know, joining us by Zoom is Tricia Peter Clark, our one of our IDA members.
Good morning, Tricia.
Morning, everyone.
Okay. Now, Len, can you do a roll call?
Sure.
Please?
Gary Toth.
Here.
Tim Canale.
Here.
Mark Greco.
Here.
Tim Stahl.
Here.
Barry Turnbull. Here. Red Schick is present, and Tricia Peter Clark is present.
Okay, thank you. So we do have a quorum, so we can proceed with our meeting. The first item on the agenda is this is our annual meeting, and August is our timeline for the annual meeting. And the only business we have to discuss this year in our annual meeting is the appointment of officers, which we will do annually. So I'm going to open it up for appointment of officers. Kevin, is there anything we need to add to that?
We do a slate of individuals.
It's your choice. There's no preference within the bylaws as to how it's done. Many organizations will put up a slate of officers. So if there is a slate to be put up.
Well, I'd like to, that's why I asked, because I'd like to move a slate. Gary Toth is chairman, Nick Canale as vice chairman, and Tim Stahl as secretary treasurer.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other nominations for officers of the IDA?
Move to close nominations.
Okay, nominations are closed. All those in favor of
Aye.
the nominations?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, thank you, Len. And congratulations, everyone. Congratulations, Tim.
All right.
Okay. And now we'll close the appointment officers for the annual meeting. Everybody got the minutes for the.
We need to close annual meeting. Close the annual
Yeah.
meeting.
State that was all the business to be done.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. That was the, all the business that had to be conducted during this year's annual meeting, so we're closing the annual meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to close the annual meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, now we'll move to the minutes of our July 5th, 2023 meeting. Everybody get them in their portal? Okay, can I get a motion and a second on the minutes, please?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Mark Greco, seconded by Tim. On the minutes? Or Barry, I'm sorry, Barry. Trimble in the minutes. Any additions, errors, or corrections? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, notice the meeting was in the Palladium Times on August 15th. Treasurer's report. Again, that was part of the portal. Everybody get a chance to look at it? Okay, can I get a motion and a second on the treasurer's report?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Tim Stahl. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Nick Canale on the treasurer's report. Any questions or comments on the treasurer's report?
Austin, do you want me to give a quick overview?
Yes, I would appreciate that, because it is our year end, although it's not an audited statement at this point, but it is something to understand that this should be at the end of the fiscal year for the 22-23 year.
Okay, good. All right, thank you, Austin.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions on that?
Gary, I have a couple of comments. So as Austin said, this is the year end. It's prior to any audit adjustments, so we'd be approving this as a preliminary, basically financial statements, obviously prior to audit. In the past, we haven't had these interim statements prior to having our audit report because we were, because of the circumstances, putting us so far behind. So as far as year end adjustments, everything's in the statements but for the adjustment to the loan loss reserve. And if you flip to the income statement, couple of pages back. It's a one-page profit and loss statement. Uh, in expenses, 4.91 allowance for loan loss expenses. So what this is the reserve that we adjust each year based on an analysis of our loan portfolio, the loans that companies owe us, and then I'm trying to understand what the risk is. And we basically assign a percentage to the balance of the loan. So a risky loan could have 50, 75, or even 100% reserve depending on the status of the collection. But a normal loan would have low single digits reserved as kind of a base reserve, say about 3%. Over the last couple of years, I've worked out a process with the auditors to do this calculation, but that adjustment is not in here yet. It's not a cash flow issue at all. It's really just truly a reserve for bad debt. So you can see last year we increased the reserve by $59,000 that year for the full fiscal year. This year it's a zero with no adjustment. I anticipate that the reserve will probably go down because so many of the COVID loans by Operation Oswego County have been paid off. There's a couple that are troublesome for collection, but most of them have been paid off. So we had those fairly highly reserved last year due to the nature of those loans, and but I can't really say until that analysis is done. So that'll be done before the auditors start here in a couple of weeks.
Do we adjust that yearly?
Yeah, we've changed this process up in the last few years where we do it much closer. It's really loan by loan analysis. Yeah, we change it yearly. And then,
Because I've been wondering, this looks like there may be some possibilities within the next year or two with some defaults. And
yeah,
I'm wondering if we're preparing for those and looking ahead.
one of the loans that we have here, I mentioned here in public session, that's been continually deferred is it's 50% reserved. But we can talk more about that maybe when we talk about the delinquent loan report in executive session. Yeah.
Good.
But Len, there may be a reason to increase that reserve this year. So
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to be prepared.
we did increase it last year also. So we've been stepping it up.
You don't want to all of a sudden get
Right. I think a step up this year is probably worthwhile. Maybe take it from 50 to 65 or 75%.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of other comments. I mean, we're basically the statements do reflect the year's activity, the additional payment to Operation Oswego County for the severance cost sharing, and the results of our operations this year. We had put forward a budget of this year, Austin, of $350,000 or $300,000 for top line fees, $350 on fees. We're right on there, but looking ahead into next year, it looks like we'll come into the year fairly strong with some projects either in stages of being approved or already approved that will close in this coming fiscal year. So it looks like a pretty good year coming.
Separate from this, but we're projecting somewhere between 400 to 450 in income and potentially more, based on projects that are approved later this year. That's just projects that are already in the hopper right now. So it's looking like a good year for next year, so I don't anticipate any issues there, but we're looking at last year.
Tim, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just was thinking, obviously it's substantially greater than it was last year. We talked a little bit just coming out of COVID, we didn't have any other projects we were looking at. This is still substantially solar projects, right? I mean, if we look over the total basket of what we had, would you say that 350 is substantially solar projects, or is there?
No, I mean, this year there was one, I think, that was maybe.
There was only one or two solar projects that were part of that. So part of that was Field Scholler, part of that was other major projects that were not. So there's always going to be some solar projects in there, but what we've seen is that of the, maybe close to 2,000 solar projects that have been approved by the IDA, maybe you have half a dozen that have actually closed. So there's still quite a few out there. So those aren't really figured into my projection numbers, because I don't know when those are going to close.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Which is another reason not to talk about that now, to look at that policy going forward.
Any other comments, questions for the financial report? Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Tricia, did you have anything else to say?
Nope.
Okay, number 5, the Chase Development Services. We have Greg Clarkson here to lead us through a presentation on the project.
Well, thank you. First off, thank you for allowing me to be here today, along with Tricia. Project, as everyone I believe knows, is over 120 East First Street. We would be purchasing approximately 33,000 square foot building, 4 floors. Just the aqua spa is on the first floor, and as of now, they are staying. They have a lease through June of '24 with the option of another 1-year option on that. We had been talking to them about extensions past that, and they've just been preliminary discussions. The plans for the, I'll call it the first ground floor, or the ground level floor, the first floor, is 18, for next year is 18 exam rooms, so that would be the bottom. So 18 exam rooms, I believe. Tricia, you have 12 now over at George Street, is that correct?
Yes.
So we'll be expanding to 18 there. So that will be a full gut and redo of the first floor. Second floor will be their dental and mental health area. They have 7 dental exam rooms going in there. And I don't believe do you have any over in George Street at this point?
Not at this time, no.
So we're gonna expand, get them up to 7 there. The top floor, we don't have any plans for yet. The thought is that they would be ancillary services to ConnexCare. But at this point, we're gonna leave it as is. So, we're in the process of negotiating a lease with ConnexCare. Everything's moving forward. We've got King & King architects working toward final submissions, and that's kind of where we're at. We're hoping to close after receipt of the certificate of need from the state, probably November, December, and then push forward, hopefully for an August move in by ConnexCare.
Greg, I have a question. I know, and this isn't required for an initial resolution. Initial resolution is just to determine the project is eligible. So just a clarification there. But have you received all approvals via the city of Oswego for planning and zoning for the project?
Yes, sir. Obviously, we don't have a building permit yet, but
Okay.
other than that, we're all set.
Tricia, do you have anything else you'd like to add to the project?
Just the project is really going to offer a lot of healthcare access for people in that area that are walking. That tends to be a real issue for us right now in the city of Oswego. So we're kind of out behind the Price Chopper building, and walking is a real challenge for people to get there. Transportation in general. So where this building is going to be located is central in between a lot of new public housing that's gone up, and it's going to be a great addition even with dental. So our goal, and I know that people have probably read about it in the paper too, but ConnexCare is under current discussions with the Oswego City School District to build a school-based health center that will open in early part of next year as well. So this building close to them becomes basically a hub and a spoke model, so that we can refer kids back to the main site for full dental services if they need it and identified at the school as in need of treatment. So it's really going to be a good comprehensive program to help both the city school district as well as our main site program.
Thank you, Trish. Does any of the board members, anybody have any questions or anything for Greg or Tricia regarding the project?
So you're, right now, ConnexCare is looking to use the first and second floors. The third floor, you're not renovating, you're waiting to see what the possible potential tenants would go in there. It's the aqua spa, you're looking to extend their lease if possible.
Yeah, so again, they're through June of '24. They've got another 1-year option, and we're discussing further out from there.
This project won't be completed until probably about July or August of '24. So actually, they may not. I mean, depending on how that works, they may not be in there at the time that the project is live. So that's the intention, I believe, is that to extend that lease. But you got Tricia. Can you confirm that ConnexCare is certificate of occupancy? They're shooting for August of '24. Is that what it is?
Yes, August of 24. And we have had conversations with Terry and the Aqua Spa team because we want them to know we'd like for them to continue to be a partner for us. It's nice when you have somebody already established to continue with that lease rental income that would come to the organization. So that's our goal, is for them to continue to be there and create kind of like a health and wellness center. And I think that they're looking at that as well. It just depends on, I guess, how things go during the construction, which it's not going to be a lie that going through the ceiling of their beautiful aqua spa to put plumbing in is going to be a challenge, but we're going to figure it out and make it work. But those are all things that we'll be working around during the construction timeline.
Sorry.
So as far as the application and whether or not it satisfies requirements to be eligible, that doesn't matter really, right, as far as the tenants or anything else along those lines, correct? I mean, is that an important piece of this, or?
Well, I'll state this. So the project, the project, if it qualifies as retail, the project is still eligible because the site is within the city of Oswego Empire Zone, which automatically qualifies the project as being considered distressed, so that the project qualifies based on that merit alone. So there's no issue related to eligibility based on, you know, existing tenant or new project. There shouldn't be any issue there.
And this would not be obviously the time to discuss any of the other additional pieces, it's just eligibility, correct? Okay.
Greg, just, you know, to clarify, maybe I missed it, where's the spa located on this?
So these are just the renovation drawings.
Mhm.
So the spa's obviously on that ground level facing the river, but it's not on that drawing there.
It's technically a 4-floor building with 2 floors being designed and built, and then 2 floors that are sort of, one is occupied and one is sort of a blank slate.
So they occupy the whole floor?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that, just so everybody, that 4th floor was renovated, I'm gonna say 5 years ago, so the space is beautiful. And so we decided, like, why would we just rip it up and not have a plan? So let's leave it, somebody may move in and say this is perfect, and we all move on.
Another statement I would like to make too is about the redevelopment of the downtown Oswego. This project wasn't part of the DRI, but this also enhances a lot of the DRI investments that were made. It's, as Tricia said, it's going to help serve and support some of the new apartment projects that have been built that are kind of on either side of it. It's kind of right in the middle of some of those projects. So from a location perspective, it's going to help enhance many of the downtown improvements and investments that have been made in the last 5 to 7 years.
So it's taking place at George Street.
Yes. Yeah. They're going to be relocated.
I think it's safe to say that so it's well known that the owner of the building where Connect Scare operates now on George Street is owned by Oswego County Opportunities. Almost said OOC. We've met with the executive director of OCO, and they have plans to do some consolidation, some efficiencies of having their team in one building. So they plan to kind of use that entire building or even look in the future what their future might be for some other expansion. But that's for a later date. But that space will be used by it's the building's owner, Oswego County Opportunities. Yeah.
So who's gonna own this building? Is it Connect Care or is it
It'll be a single asset LLC that will be owned by LaChase Development.
Okay.
For profit, correct?
Yes.
I'd like to add that the way we've been working with both Connect Care and LaChase, and the way, as I understand, their deal will be put together is that any benefits the IDA may award to this project in the name of LaChase, really the benefits essentially accrue to Connect Care, because if LaChase saves money on sales tax for the construction, that means Tricia pays less. If there's mortgage recording tax exemptions, and correct me if I'm wrong, but any recording tax exemptions or even the pilot, all those benefits would accrue to the tenant. The Connect Care will be leasing the entire building, and these other spaces will be subtenants to Connect Care. So the large not-for-profit healthcare organization that Tricia runs will be the beneficiary of the benefits of this action.
It's again important to say that we are leasing Connect Care the entire building, so that all benefits, you know, basically a triple net lease, so all benefits granted to the Chase get passed on along to Connect Care.
Thank you. Any other questions for Greg or Tricia regarding this project? Okay, if there's none, then we have to act on the initial resolution. Can I get a motion and a second?
Can I just state first that
Sure.
for this, because Tricia isn't an involved party to this, that she should recuse herself from any vote related to this matter?
Yes.
I planned on it. Thank you, Austin.
And the record will reflect that.
Just wanted it out there.
Okay, so do I have a motion and a second on the initial resolution, please?
I'll move it. Second.
Motion by Nick Canale, seconded by Len Schick. Is there any more comments or questions regarding this project? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And one recusal, yes, Tricia.
I was gonna say, one abstention.
Well, recusal.
Recusal, not
Yeah.
abstaining.
Thank you, Tricia.
Huh?
Is that better word?
Well, it is, I don't wanna get into whole lot of minutia here, but when there is a perceived conflict or potential conflict of interest, it's best for a member of a board to recuse themselves or remove themselves from the debate, discussion, and vote, as opposed to abstaining for whatever reason you have, because an abstention is technically a no vote. A recusal actually removes the member from voting itself, so.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, great.
Thank you.
We're all set. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Wonderful seeing you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Tricia.
Greg, did you happen to bring stuff for me?
I brought you more money.
Okay.
I brought the
Moving down, we have
Okay.
number 6.
I'll get those.
Tricia, you got the agenda, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I should ask that for on number 6, the conflict waiver request of Hartley David on RIC Investment Corporation.
Just wait a minute, just so there's no background going on.
All right, Greg. Thanks.
Thank
You too. We'll be in touch. Okay, we got $500.
We're gonna take this.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, Barclay Damon has requested a conflict waiver in relation to their representation of RIC Energy. And as Kevin and Austin can attest, and if you recall, RIC Energy has some solar projects. They are a solar company, larger company. They have they've got at least one approved project.
We did a slate kind of in succession of RIC projects. There was Williamstown, Oswego. There was Volume 1 and 2. And there's one other that I'm missing. Yeah, but anyway, we've done a number of these. None of them have closed,
Yeah.
but we've approved a number of solar projects. with RIC.
And there may be more in the offing down the road. But in any event, the firm Barclay Damon has been retained by RIC Energy, parent company that's doing all these developments. So obviously, Barclay Damon acts as our special counsel on many projects, the straight lease transactions, the solar projects being among them. And so they've requested that that conflict be acknowledged, but that the IDA waive any conflict so that they could represent both entities. I did speak directly to Connie Call, who's the managing member of the entire firm, and verified that no one from the straight lease transaction and special counsel side of things that advises the IDA would be involved in any way, shape, or form with advising or representing RIC Energy. So there is a firewall of sorts among, and it's a large firm. I mean, there are over 300 or 400 attorneys statewide across the country that handle these things. So primarily, I believe the transactional work for RIC Energy is even in a different office than the ones that represent us for special counsel. So I'm comfortable that any potential conflict has been ameliorated with internally with the organization. I don't believe that any advice special counsel gives us will in any way, shape, or form affect or negatively impact the IDA in its decision-making process as these projects come up. And they are, we are independent of on every one of these cases. We do a separate analysis of every one of these projects. So I'm comfortable in recommending that the waiver of conflict be considered and approved if this board so chooses to do so.
Okay.
If not, then we'd have to find another firm to act as special counsel. I suppose, well, I guess I'll leave it at
There's
that.
enough separation.
I think so, and it's not a unique situation. They from time to time have come up with other cases, and we've waived the conflict in those cases too.
And as Kevin said, they've assured us that nobody who works on the team for us will be working on the team for them, which is really the crux of what we needed to.
Right. And there's no interaction between them other than what above board and appropriate.
Exactly.
Okay, can I get a motion in a second on the conflict of waiver request?
I'll move it.
Motion by Len Schick, second by Nick Canale. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, Trish. Okay, carried. Okay, Kevin, thank you very much. Number 7, the Z&C Holdings of New York, consent to mortgage.
Yes, please.
So ZNC Holdings of New York is the real estate holding company involved with 43 North Marina, which is the large, recently reconstructed marina on Oneida Lake. As you see it right as you're crossing into Oswego County in 81. We did a straight lease transaction with them some years back. So now they've gotten, of course, the initial project completed a couple of years ago, and they have been seeking some additional financing to continue to make improvements in the marina, at the marina from their bank, not from us. So, as we are party to the deed, basically, or the title, basically, by way of the straight lease transaction, we have to give consent to this additional financing. There's no particular credit risk for us; it's just a simple consent, and then we sign the mortgage documents. So, they've asked the IDA to consent to this mortgage, this new money mortgage, and also execute any documents as necessary.
Do they have any debt with us?
No, they don't. No, never did for this particular project. We attempted, but they were well taken care of by the bank.
And there was also, back when this deal was originally done, I think there was some anticipation that this was gonna take place at some point in the future.
There's sort of ongoing development plan. I shouldn't say sort of. The owner has ongoing development plans down there, so we may see more. We may see some requests for assistance in the future, but not at this time. So.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion in a second on the consent and mortgage for Z&C Holdings.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mark Greco, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Nick Canale. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody
Aye.
opposed? Okay, it's carried. Number 8, was it Lovacor?
Do you want, so we can tag team this?
Yeah, do you want to start it off?
Sure. So Locavore at Burritt's, this is a LLC created by Rich Burritt and the team over at Burritt. This is a different kind of project. So at the land just directly to the east of them, it's just within the town of Scriba. They have proposed the development of a boat sales, service, and storage facility. It would be the only facility in the area of City of Oswego, town of Scriba. And they have requested, similarly to the La Chase project, they've requested an application for financial assistance, including pilot, sales and use tax, and mortgage reporting tax exemption. At this point, it's an initial resolution, so we're just looking at the eligibility of the project. We have determined, and Barclay Damon has provided in their resolution, that the project, as a retail project, would be eligible based on highly distressed characteristics of the census tract or adjacent census tract that the project is located in. So it meets the criteria of being an eligible project for ID benefits. It's really what they're looking to do is they're looking to build an 18,000 square foot industrial building, which would house their sales, service, and storage building. They have described to us that this would be a phase 1 of a potentially larger project, but at this time they're really looking at doing this project and would like to get this off the ground. So we've seen their business plan. I understand their marketing and everything. It looks like it's a good project. I think it would be a good project for the city and Oswego County. And as we know, a lot of these sales, the boat manufacturers and models that they're looking to do are separate and distinct from the ones that are at 43 North. So it's what we anticipate sales that are made there if they weren't to be done there, they would probably be done outside of the county. So it'd be people having to leave the county to potentially do sales and acquire boats. So this helps to keep some of those sales and service here, and it creates new jobs as well. I believe it's around 30 jobs total that they're looking at. Some of those are FTE, some of those are part-time, some of those are full-time, but approximately 30 total. So at this time, we're just looking to get an initial resolution. I believe, and Kevin, maybe you can explain on this, that they have started their process of seeking town ascribable planning and zoning approvals.
Not only began, but they were actually approved the last meeting. There was a meeting just last week, last Wednesday,
Okay.
and so they're fully approved. Went through county review. There were a couple of minor but important comments related to the nearby housing complex, because it will be adjacent to the Champlain Commons project. But yeah, the town is supportive. They've approved it, and it has. If those who are not familiar with it, it's the old Cruel property.
It's the house or?
The house with the acreage around it.
The house is going to be torn down eventually as part of the project going forward. But yeah, it's about a 9-acre parcel.
So it's got frontage on 104 and city line?
Correct.
Correct. Although the building itself, the storage facility, will be on the southern lot, so away from 104. In fact, City Line Road would be the point of access and egress and ingress for the project. 104 is not in the equation.
So future projects would be more of a sales
I think it would be to
facility on
expand it.
104?
I think it would be to expand some of those things, maybe move into power sports and other things like that, based on their business plan. But like I said, that's subject to change in the future. At this point, they're just looking to phase one of it being this, 18,000 square foot, the 30 jobs and the sales service and the storage.
Okay, can I get a motion and a second on the initial resolution?
I'll move it.
Motion by Len Schick, do I have a second? Second by Barry Trimble. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the initial resolution is carried. Okay, number 9.
All right.
Excuse me, Plumbing Mills property.
Yeah, so what I want to state this time that we are not looking to approve a sale of property. This is just a further update of where we are in the process. So I apologize, Tricia, I didn't know you'd be joining us via Zoom, so I did not have an electronic copy to show, but what I'm handing out right now is just showing the site, the current site as it is, and then I also have a drawing. Yeah, whatever we got leftovers, that'd be great. Yeah, just to have in front of me as a reference.
Everybody got one?
So this is to kind of show the current conditions at the site. You can see that the senior housing project is on the east side of the site there. The Columbia map is shown on here, and then 48 is sort of the intersection road that runs on the northeast corner of that site. So really what they're looking at is they're looking at the site that is behind the Minetto Senior Housing Project, and they have provided me a better idea of the size of the lot and what the use would be, and proposed amenities on that site. So what they have proposed, and so as you can see on this, because of the way that the road comes in, that road is going to have to take a jog. It's not going to continue in a straight line. It's going to take a jog, but we're looking at about 300 foot depth on the west side of that site, about 360 foot of depth on the east side of it, and it's about 477 feet. Now there is, when this was built, half of the parking lot for that Minetto Senior Housing was built on property still owned by the IDA. There was an agreement at the time that allowed them to do that. So the 477 feet does not go to the actual the property line. It really goes to where the property stops being mowed. So really where that green turns into brown is about where 477 feet is. So what the town of Minetto has proposed to us is they are looking to acquire approximately 450 foot wide by about 120 foot of property going up from the Minetto Sunken Garden site, so 120 feet up and 450 feet wide. So it's going to on here it would kind of be within this. Didn't have it drawn in, but it leaves us still approximately about 180 foot depth property on the western side and about 240 foot depth on the eastern side. So you still have the potential of putting a project along the frontage of Columbia Ave if you were to extend that. We've talked to them about the potential of if there was additional senior housing or additional apartment project on that site, that the park here could be an amenity to help with that. One of the things that they are looking to do is, I will show here on this map, this is what they provided to us, is that this is that boundary that would fit within about a third of that site, is that they're looking to have a paved path go around the whole thing, which would connect into the existing Minetto housing project and could connect into a future housing project on the north side, which would be, between the park expansion and Columbia Ave. They're looking to put in their own parking, so they're not looking to utilize parking that's associated with the senior housing. They're looking to put in a pavilion, basketball court, and then, like I said, they're also looking to have walking trails and allow it to take away some of the congestion that is currently going on the current Sunken Garden site. Access to the site would come from where the fire department is over here. There was a bridge that goes over here that needs to be improved, and that the town has said that they're doing that. That's their project. They've said, I think the project cost on that is approximately $300,000 to $350,000. They haven't had it specifically bid yet, but that's where they think that the costs are on that. So part of all this is that they need to have that done so that people can actually drive across that to access and get in here. They're not looking for us to provide any access from Columbia Ave to the site, which would take up more room on our site. That was part of my big concern, is that they were going to be looking to access it through Columbia Ave, which would bisect their site or cut it even more. So at this point, and I will also say I made a presentation to John Familo, as well as a couple of their board members. This was back in July, and I think that they are interested to see what the IDA would like to do with the rest of the site. As we said before, we were interested to develop that site. We brought out the master plan that was developed by Saratoga Associates back in the early 2000s, and based on the uses of that, it's still I would say it's a very up to date. It's not based on what's happened there to date and what's coming with Micron and other things. I think it's still a very viable plan, and that plan is not negatively impacted by providing about an acre of land to the town of Minetto. So what I don't have yet. So what I'm just doing today is providing an update saying that I think that this is something still worth pursuing going forward. What we need to do is we need to determine the fair market value of that property. If the IDA is to sell it, we need to determine that. And we need to find out what the town of Minetto would be willing to purchase that property for, or figure some alternative model for the disposition of property. So that could include a land swap, if there's something that makes sense. It could include maybe the town of Minetto doing some work for us in terms of road extension, having a cost that could be equivalent to what the value of the land is. So there's some things we could get out of this. Maybe we look to have the town at their cost extend Columbia Ave, and that has a cost of X, which we could then determine would equal out the cost of land. So there's several model or options we can do here, and I think that they may be interested to do that, and that would also help us further develop the site, because right now the road goes about 300 feet in, and that's about it. And so to continue development, we need to extend that road and potentially look at extending utilities as well. So at this point, I'm not really asking for much other than to understand that the board is still interested and willing to move forward with Minetto on the project. Any questions, comments?
I would love to see that plan. I'm not familiar with the.
To provide that to you. I have it in my office.
Just to get a glance at it.
Sure.
Just to familiarize myself with it.
Yeah, it was developed in the early 2000s, and I think it was developed in a way that there was a lot of foresight in terms of what, I don't think anyone had planned Micron is coming, or there's going to be growth, happening, that kind of thing. But it kind of looks like a mini Radisson in a way. It's a mixed use development with apartments, potentially even looking at some single family housing or patio homes. Also looking at some commercial development along 48 and at the edges, as well as potential for industrial development closer to the wastewater treatment plant. So it's sort of mixed use development on a large scale, almost like a planned unit development, like a Radisson site. So I can provide that to you after this for no problem.
Okay, depending on what we do with this property, Austin, what available property we have left for development on that site?
So we currently have about 82 acres in this parcel, and then we have another 6 acres that was subdivided several years ago and rezoned to commercial along 48. We wanted to make sure, because the entire property is currently zoned industrial. That industrial zoning is not going to impact their ability to develop a park on the property. But, you know, and all discussions we've had with the town is that this is not something that if they put this in, that they're gonna fight us on future development on a project adjacent. That was my other sort of concern, is that if we do this, is that going to hurt our ability to develop the site next to it? And our thoughts were always sort of, hey, this is, you know, this is because of the senior housing being there, that would be a good location to have an additional apartment project. You know, maybe we're looking at turning it 90 degrees now instead of having it, you know, in line parallel to the other projects. So I do think it's a decent use based on what is currently there, and all the other surrounding things, being the fire department, being the park, being the senior housing. You know, it could even be something that we look at in the future, saying, hey, listen, you know, based on what we do here, you know, there may be further expansion of parks or other town uses on that property in the future. But I think it's something that if we're going to do that, we need to get something out of it in terms of road extension, you know, other things that the town could provide to us that we don't, you know, that we would have to pay someone else to do.
So you're not looking at any action or approval by the board today, right?
I just want to make sure you're still comfortable with us going forward, having the property, determining fair market value, and then, you know, getting an actual offer from the town based on that, or some, like I said, either a cash offer or some sort of in-kind service offer.
So is the board still comfortable with letting Austin continue his discussions with the town of Moneta over the
Oh, I am.
park?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
seems reasonable.
all right.
So
Tricia,
it doesn't seem like it's gonna impede
Mhm.
anything, right?
are you okay with it?
Yep, I'm fine with it.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, Austin, so everybody feels good. Did anybody have any more
I have
questions?
one quick question. As far as our access to the rest of the site, is this Columbia Ave our only
No.
access to the site?
No,
We have road frontage on 142.
we there's multiple there's an access point pretty much on every road. The only thing there isn't is on the backside of it. There's not, but yeah, there are other things, and so probably what I will do is, and I can do it either in an actual IDA meeting, or we can do it in something else. Show the master plan that was put together on that. I think it's been such a long time. I know it because I see this stuff and I know it, but you know, not thinking that you guys don't see that. But yeah, there's
I'd
multiple
like to see
access.
it too.
This is probably the primary access from especially from 48, and this is where, you know, I see where development, the majority of traffic coming from, just because that's the primary roadway is 48, but that's not the only one.
Nick, where we sold that very small piece of property to the homeowner on the other
Slope.
side, the slope, that's on County Route, I don't know,
25.
25.
Yeah.
We have access there too. We looked at that when we agreed to sell that small bit to
So
the slope.
is there a town road there? that
It's
goes
our
past
property,
Sloan's
right.
house, or is it our property?
It's our property right to the street. For example, to Austin's point, one of the access points is
Yeah.
on that road.
It would require some improvements, but it's there.
But we have the
Correct. Wide road
We have
frontage, wide enough for trucks to turn and things, yeah. We looked at that when we did the slope.
It is a town road. Chase Drive is.
Oh, thanks, Kevin, yeah, it is. Yeah,
It's-
Chase Drive.
It's an actual.
it's an
It's
actual
a dead
town.
end.
The dead end road that just goes as far back as
Yeah.
Sloan's property, right, basically.
Beyond it, just to the back of it.
Beyond it, and then it touches onto the end of our property. Yeah.
Okay, any other comments or questions for Austin? Okay, Austin, proceed. Okay, number 10, the HUD CDBG investment return. $91.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a major authorization today for $91.37. We've done this every year for decades. According to our HUD loan programs, which is our HUD loan program plus our micro enterprise program, we need to return interest earned based on a formula, and this year it's $91.36. Last year it was $16.35. The difference is the increase in interest rates year over year. Essentially, of course, the balance in the account also varies. So, as loans are made or paid. So I am asking the board to authorize the remittance of this money. It's actually remitted to the county of Oswego in a special account, and eventually is for the benefit of U.S. HUD. So.
How much does it cost to give them that $90 back?
About $50. Probably altogether between us and the county, I'm sure a couple $100 of transaction costs. But,
So this is one of those things you'll figure out, Tim. This comes through your office. So.
I make a motion.
thanks, Tricia.
Do I have a second? Okay, motion by Tricia Peter Clark, seconded by Nick Canale on the interest return. Any more questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, carried. Okay, at this time, we're gonna enter into executive session. Kevin, can you detail why we're going into executive session this afternoon, or this morning?
Yeah, that would be pursuant to the public officers laws to discuss the personal or financial information of a particular individual or corporation. So that would be the purpose.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion and a second to enter an executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Nick Canale, seconded by Mark Greco. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. At what time, Lynn?
9:27.
Okay. We're live.
Are we good, Kevin?
Yes.
Okay, we're coming out of an executive session. Do I have a motion and a second to come out of executive session, please?
I'll move. Second.
Motion by Nick Canale, seconded by Mark Greco. At what time? Install?
11:18.
11:18. All those in favor to come out of executive session?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay. Just a few items we have to take care of that we discussed. Is a delinquent loan report. Can I get a motion and a second on the delinquent loan report, please?
Move it.
Motion by Len Schick, seconded by Mark Greco. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. And Tanya Enterprises, USDA loan. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
I'll move it.
Motion by Barry Trimble, seconded by Len Schick. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carried. Any other business?
Real quick, I just want to let you guys know that there's an opportunity to do, and you should have it in front of you here. The New York State EDC every year does a IDA Academy, which it also covers ABO training. It also has a lot of other interesting information about what IDAs can do and new things coming up. So we've been provided the opportunity to be a sponsor, which would then include 4 complimentary registrations for the Academy, as well as having the IDA's name on it as a sponsor. So I am asking if the IDA would approve becoming a sponsor of this New York State IDC Fall 2023 IDA Academy, which is taking place in Lyons Falls up in Lewis County. And then also let you know that we have seats then if people from the board would be interested to attend this and learn more about what IDAs are doing and you know, accomplish ABO training.
We have dates.
It's November 9th, Thursday, November 9th. It's an all-day thing. And you know, obviously we could cover 4 registrations with this, but I would say if any of the IDA members want to attend, that is on the IDA to pay for that. Your continuing training and understanding of IDA rules and best practices.
So we're looking at the $1,000 sponsorship.
I think it's a great idea. I have to go myself.
Okay. We can take a poll of who wants to go after this, if we do approve it.
So do I have a motion on becoming $1,000?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Motion by Len Schick, seconded by Mark Greco. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are a sponsor. Any other business?
Anything else?
Next meeting date?
It was you and Mark.
So,
My second.
next meeting date, we are looking at the last week of September. Kevin, there's no issues related to, the October meeting is going to be probably a little bit different. Probably have to do it earlier in the month because of our auditor related stuff. But it looks like we are looking at the week of September 25th to September 29th.
I can't do the 29th.
That's I wouldn't do that one either.
How about Wednesday morning?
27.
Wednesday the 27th?
Does that work for you, Barry?
I can come
Can I
along.
walk for everybody?
Is that okay for you?
The Wednesday, the 27th.
Yes.
Kevin, you good with that?
Yeah.
Want to do 8:30 again?
Yes, please.
Okay. So everybody good? Tricia, is that good with you?
You're off, let's see.
Yep.
I can make it.
Okay, Wednesday morning, the 27th at 8:30? Okay.
Sounds good. All right.
And Austin, if we're interested in attending the training, do we email you or are we gonna just do like a?
Yeah, just let me know. Let me know. And honestly, it doesn't matter. If we have more than 4 people who want to go, that's fine. It's just we'll cover 4 with this, and then if any additional people, we can pay for them separately.
Do we know the times on this? Yeah, like what time it runs?
I don't know. I will send the details. I'll send it to the whole group. It's usually an all day thing. They usually break it up to like a morning session, which is the ABO, and then the afternoon is like best practices. So, but I'll find out for sure.
Okay, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Mark Greco, seconded by
I'll second it.
Nick Canale. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay. Good.
Guys.
Bye,
Thanks,
Trish.
Trish. Hold on.
We're not done yet.